Hello and welcome to the fourth live stream for Underpin Consultants. You may notice a little bit of gravel in my voice today. The reason is I'm just currently recovering from a cold, so a little bit of cough, a little bit of kind of sinusy things. So apologies in advance for my dulcet, slightly more gravelly tones than usual. However, super excited for today. And the reason is it's the first time in any of these live streams that we're going to be talking about culture, and what is culture, and how to build good teams, and how to be part of a team and lead teams that do great things and make people feel great about themselves. And what we're going to do today is we're even going to switch up the usual format of the presentation. We're going to go a little bit more fashion, because today we're going to be talking about SCARF. And SCARF is a methodology found across leadership and human resources. It's all about building good teams. So, what is SCARF? Well, SCARF was developed by David Rock in 2008, and it's a way to create a better culture for your team. It highlights the things that humans need to make themselves feel comfortable and to create a comfortable environment for other people and humans. The reason why I'm using the word people here is because this doesn't exclusively work for teams and employees. I'm a consultant and I regularly pull together teams of people who need to do a specific job, whether that be build a website or run a marketing campaign or run a business campaign or build a company from scratch. Some of those people are employees, some of those people are consultants, some are freelancers, and they all need to be treated with respect. They all need to be treated the same, and they all need to feel part of a team. So this is not just a case of having your employees of the business that you run working well, but also just in general. And I think there are some really good life lessons here as well for working out your how to build good teams in your personal life as well. So David Rock argues that humans need 5 things to feel comfortable in social interactions. They are status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. If you take the first letter of each one of those, it spells SCARF, which is what we're talking about today. So what does that mean? How can we apply it to our own teams and our own lives? And what happens when you don't provide these things to your team? What happens then? Those are the questions we're going to be talking about today, and hopefully we'll be able to gain some answers from it too. So, what SCARF does is it identifies key social drivers for improving workplace relationships. And what that means is it's what drives us psychologically, what drives us emotionally to do a good job, or alternatively, to do a bad job. And part of that is feeling comfortable. And you'll hear the word comfort and comfortable a lot today. And the opposite of comfort is obviously feeling threatened, feeling upset, feeling down. And I think we've all been in jobs at some point or another where we felt all of those things. And so what we want to do is when we're building our teams is to create an environment that is not like that. And that's about minimizing triggers. So what is setting off those feelings that cause stress and resistance. And if we can do that, we can improve the productivity of our teams and our organizations. And boosting leadership, because we have set a good, healthy organization and a good, healthy culture, we're able to do more for longer, for better, with everybody understanding what it is that they're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each individual letter of SCARF, and we're going to see what it means, how it works, and what those triggers are, and then see where we get to when it comes to looking at what the opposite of those things are. So the first one is status, or if you're from across the pond, status. Status is everything that you want to feel when thinking about your job. It's about feeling important and valued. It's about knowing what you are within the company, to be respected within the company, and to have the security of the job that you do. So what does that look like? We've all been in jobs where we're not quite sure that people around us respect the work that we do. And part of that is on the employee to do a good job and to do the right things, but it's also part of the company to define what is their job, what does it look like, um, when do you come to that person, how do you treat them, that person's job is secure, that they're not going to be moved out and moved back in, and to deal with the job title instead of the person. So that's being respectful to the job and where it sits in the business and how it works. And if you provide a workplace or a team where each individual department and each individual employee feels respected, feels like they are secure, that they're not going to be taken over, or their job role is not going to be integrated into somebody else's job role, and that they have a functional place within the business. They will feel like they have status in the business or status in the business, and they will work harder. So that's the first one, and these are all kind of interlinked and related. The second one is certainty. It's about feeling comfortable in your job, feeling comfortable in what you do, and feeling comfortable in how you do it. So if a person knows what their job, let's take, for example, a warehouse manager. If a warehouse manager knows my job is to look after the warehouse, to make sure things come in, to make things go out, and I know that's my job. I know that's what I'm doing today. I know that's what I'm doing tomorrow, and I know what my role and responsibilities are. I also know that what my job does helps other people. So I know that there is a large company strategy that means that I have a role in the business, and my role is to deliver the warehouse side of it. I know sales and customer service are going to bring this into me, and this will come in relatedness. But having that overall strategy to say, this is who I am, this is what my job is, and this is where I'm going to do it, and having a genuine destination of getting there and being part of that journey provides certainty. I am the warehouse manager. I manage the warehouse. I know what my role is. I know what my responsibility is. I know how it fits into the wider company, and I know how it fits into other departments. So I feel comfortable and secure in the work that I'm doing. I know lots of companies where that isn't the case, and I know lots of companies where that is the case. And people who know what they're supposed to be doing and have a certainty of what they're supposed to be doing work harder. And that's great. And that's part of building a culture where everybody feels like they know what they're doing. This is a big one. And this is one where you'll hear words like micromanaging and they're just telling me what to do, and they're not helping me build my own sense of skills. And the way this looks usually is, I want you to do the job the way I want to do it. That coming from a manager is a bad thing, and that coming from an employee is a good thing. If an employee is able to use their skills to play to their strengths, to have different ways of doing things that work towards what we were just talking about, that certainty. But rather than having a manager that comes down and says, I want you to do it exactly this way. I'm not interested in hearing your way of doing it. I'm not hearing about your particular skills. I just want it done this way. That job will be done worse than if you provide people with a genuine plan and an understanding of what their business is, an understanding of where they fit in, and having a clear strategy, and then having the autonomy to say, this is the way I think it needs to be done. I know what my role is. I know what my strategy is. And I'm going to use my particular skills to deliver those particular the things that we need to do. But I'm going to do it in my way. And I'm given the autonomy and understand that it's the outcomes that are important and not the ways that are done it. That reduces micromanagement, that allows employees or team members to think about what it is that they're doing. It allows them to gain new skills, to gain confidence, and who knows, they might even come up with a better way of doing it. Creating that collaborative, diverse approach to new and interesting ways of delivering a business or part of a team is great. Otherwise, what's the point of hiring them? If they're not interesting, if they're not bringing new things to the table, if you're not allowing them to play to their strengths, if you're not empowering them to do the job that you've asked them to do without actually telling them step by step how to do it, that's the key. And the last one, and this is something I love a lot, is equity. So autonomy is not about treating everybody equally, which is what equality is. It's about giving the people what they need to do the job in the best way they can. And you do that for everybody. So it's not a case of everybody works in the same way. Everybody's going to be here from 9 till 5. If somebody needs to work from 8 till 4, if somebody needs a certain type of desk, if someone has ADHD and they need particular kinds of support, give it to them, empower them, give them the autonomy to do the job that they want to do in the way that they want to do it. And if you don't like the way they do it, then there's an issue with the way you've hired them or the way you've set that team up. People also need to know where they fit and where they fit and that they are part of a team that respects them and understands them. So again, we're going back here to status. We're going for certainty. They know what the strategy is. They know where they fit into that strategy. They have the ability to do that work. Sorry, I just need to cough. Bear with me a second. Sorry about that. They have the ability to do their job. They have the ability to do the job in the way they see best. And they're bringing fresh and new and interesting ideas to the table. If you then bring all of those people together who are doing a really good job and they feel comfortable and they feel strong and they feel part of a team and they feel empowered and they have the equity and the freedom to do the work that they need to do, you've created a culture where it's easy to feel like you can stretch yourself and you can fail and people will pick you up, and that you are able to go to other people in the team and they will understand who you are and what you stand for and how you work, and they will work with you and you will work with them because you understand. And it develops this empathy of understanding within the team where everybody understands the strategy, everybody wants to deliver the strategy, everybody knows everybody's strengths, they're allowed to do the job in the way that they want to. And because there's this sense of collaboration and that everybody is working together, we understand each other's parts. And therefore, we understand what everybody else's job is. And if we all know our job and we all do it, that's true teamwork. And finally, fairness. Rules are set out. Everybody knows their jobs and people see the workplace as fair. That doesn't mean that everybody gets treated the same. It means that there is a consistency and an understanding and a transparency. Somebody is a single parent and they need to go pick up their kid from school and they are doing the work that they're supposed to be doing because they have autonomy and certainty and status, then fairness doesn't necessarily mean everybody has to come to work at 9 and everybody has to leave at 5. Fairness is about, we are all paid to do our jobs, let's do our jobs. The rules make sense, let's treat people like adults. It's about then consistently applying those rules. The rules are, I want the work done, and I don't mind how it's done because I'm aware that you're good at your job and you're better at your job than I am at your job. And my job is to help you deliver the work that you need to do. If you need to take time off, or if you need to come in early and leave late, as long as the work is done, because those are the rules that we're saying, it is fine. It's about being transparent about that. It's about telling people that, yeah, of course, the reason why this is happening, the reason why this person is leaving early, the reason why this person can work from home is because of these reasons. And the reasons are because we are trying to be, to respect people, to have a clear strategy, to play to people's strengths. That's what it's about. A big problem in work culture at the moment, from my opinion, is this idea that it works for me and therefore it will work for you as a leadership mentality. Last year, Boots decided that people, the pharmacists in the UK, they decided that they were going to have everybody come back into the office. And the reason given was that the chief executive said it worked for him. It worked for me, and so it's going to work for everybody. Unfortunately, that's not equity, that's equality, and it can be unfair because it treats people differently depending on their status and other factors. And one of those factors can be, it works for me and therefore it's going to work for you. Because there's a lack of relatedness, of understanding, of empathy, people get the idea that it has to be one for everybody. Whereas actually, if we set more value related rules as opposed to strict, you need to do what's happening right now kind of rules, you'll end up with a situation where people understand that people have different needs and people actually celebrate other people's needs and requirements, and they become part of the positive culture that you're trying to create. So, what happens when you don't? And this is something that I looked into because I think a really important way of understanding how things work is to completely flip them on their head. There's an architectural process where when you're building a building, you should turn it completely upside down and look at it from there as well to see it from a completely different angle. So if we're looking at the opposite of scarf, what is it? Well, instead of having status, understanding your business, your team concerns, understanding where you are and knowing that people respect you. If you don't have that, then you're vulnerable. Instead of having a certainty of who you are, you're going to be constantly worrying about what other people think of you and whether your job is safe and secure and whether you're comfortable. That's anxiety. Without autonomy to go away and do your own work and constantly being told how to do your job, that applies pressure to you. You're not doing it right. I'm not interested in the outcome. I don't care about what the outcome is. I want you to do it my way because that's the way I want it done. That adds a level of pressure in the business. Relatedness becomes isolation. If you don't know what other people are doing and you don't know how they interact with you and you're not working in a team, you will feel isolated. One team will therefore then not know what the other team is doing. So sales will be going back to the warehouse thing. People will be putting sales in, but the warehouse is not aware of them. And that's because there isn't this collegiate, collaborative culture that is helping people understand what everybody's role is and providing the certainty and the autonomy and the relatedness that they require. And then fairness becomes discrimination. So if you don't have, let's take a religious example. People who are devout Muslims require to go and pray several times a day whilst at work, and they need a place to do that. Okay, to say no one can do that because that makes it equal for everybody is unfair. If that person is doing their job whilst praying, within the day, so they're doing their job, they're doing everything they're supposed to do, and they're given the opportunity and the freedom and the autonomy to do the job in the way they want, which as a devout Muslim or a devout Christian or whoever it might be, involves certain things. As long as the job gets done and we all have that understanding, that's fair. So to not do that is discrimination. And discrimination can be anything from formal discrimination to informal discrimination. You are someone who needs to pick up a child from school and you've done all your work. There can be this feeling of, oh, well, what are you doing? Why are you leaving early? Well, if they have the autonomy to do their job and they're doing their job well, it doesn't matter when they leave. That's where that comes in. And so you end up with this vapidness, which is, vulnerable, anxious, pressure-driven, isolated, discriminatory workplaces. And it's really easy for it to happen, as easy as it is to create a good work environment. It is so much easier to create a bad work environment. And the bad work environment comes from inaction. It comes from not doing anything. If you leave people to just do their jobs, they will become isolated. They will feel pressure. They will feel anxiety. You need to nurture a culture where innovation, collaboration, comfort, and autonomy are rewarded, and feeling part of a team is rewarded, and the opposite is therefore not seen as not about punishing people. It's about making the positive so good that the negative just seems impossible and inconsequential. ensure equity in your company. Ensure that people are given the things that they need to do their job properly. And that's hard, because what that means is you have to, as a leader, sit down and ask them and work out, what is it that you need from me? How can I help you do a better job? What do we need to happen? That needs a plan. In 6 months, we need to be developing an app that's going to do X. How do we get from here to there? Where does your role fit in? How can I help you do the best possible job? And it will never be micromanage me. Tell me exactly what to do. Make me feel really uncomfortable. Make me feel super pressured. Make me feel like I've got to be here all the time. Make me feel like I'm going to burn out. Make me feel like I might get fired tomorrow. No one's going to say that to you. What they're going to say is, I need help, I need support, I need training, I need to feel part of a team, I need to be able to work with other people, I need to be able to fail, and we need to come up with some new ideas and that not be looked at dimly. Equity is about giving people what they need, not giving everybody the same thing. And so when you're building that team, when you're building that business, when you're building that department, ask people what they need. And that's what good managers do. That's what good leaders do. That involves the people who are working with you to give them the best opportunity to succeed. This is a blueprint for a good employee. An employee that feels useful, an employee that feels secure, an employee that's understanding. I'm really sorry, something's moved up, the plan's changed slightly, but we're going to work on this together, we're going to work on this as a team, things are going to change, but we're prepared for change. So they're understanding, but they're also understood. So when they turn around and say, that's great, but I need you to do this, I need you to, I'll need extra support, I'll need extra help here, I'll need another person. You can then have an honest negotiation, person to person, about what's required. They need to be empathetic, and the only way that they can be empathetic, the only way they can understand the feelings and thoughts of other people, of other departments, of the leaders, is to be in regular contact with them, to understand where everybody is, where everybody's up to, and that's regular, useful meetings to understand where businesses are, where departments are, and how they can move forward together. Part of a fair team, everybody feels secure, everybody feels like they are, they understand what everybody else is doing, and honest. I'm sorry, something has gone wrong. I would like your help to fix it. I think we can do this together. Accepting that responsibility, being honest about what it is that you need, and being fair about it, and having a discussion and coming to a mutual solution will provide you with a team that is more of a team of equals, because everybody's bringing their own part, everybody's bringing their own usefulness, everyone's bringing their own security and their own understanding and their own empathy. That team of people will be able to solve a problem much better than an individual person barking and shouting and getting stressed and not understanding what teams need. So that's SCARF. And what SCARF is super useful for is creating that equity. But what is needed is a leader at the top, is someone who is understanding that they don't get to make all the decisions and that they need to collaborate with other people. At the end of the day, they're going to have to make, yeah, we're going this way. I'm the leader. I'm going to go and I'm taking you with me and we're all going to go together. But having a plan that everybody feels part of, that everybody feels secure in, that everybody understands what their job is, and that they've had a real positive way in to understanding and feeling part of that team and part of that plan, that's super important. And what that does is that allows people to work for longer because they feel like they have a real share in it. And it makes your job easier as a leader because you're not having to reduce people's autonomy and micromanage people, because you've said, we've got a plan. There's 3 parts to this. The delivery part is in charge of the delivery manager, of the project manager. I've spoken to them. I've spoken to everybody else. They know what they need. They know what they need to do. They feel comfortable in their task. They've got the team around them that needs to work in the right way. They all understand what they're doing. They all understand why they're doing it. And so they know that in 2 weeks, we need to come back and deliver this. And they feel comfortable because there is an honest and fair approach that if they can't do that, they know they can come to me as a leader and I will say, great, thank you for bringing this problem to me. How do we solve this together? Not, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I don't care what you think. That's a much better way of doing it. So I think it's really important to build those teams early and to build them fast, but to build them together. We're going to talk more about team building and missions and values and priorities within business departments, within companies that allow people to grow and get promoted and do more and be more and allow leaders to stop managing and start leading. So that'll be the next one that we're going to be looking at. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying, again, being honest, really enjoying doing these. It's really helpful for me to kind of speak these things that I really do genuinely care about. If you've got any feedback, any comments, anything you want me to look at in the future, again, I want to build a team that follows SCARF on here, and I want to work with people and I want to help them understand their businesses better so that they can grow businesses that work for them, that aren't a burden or a stress or something that controls them, but then they can